we have read how the film theory it is related to your, particularly I'm talking about bio, and that bio application. Okay, because if you'll talk about other theories, like one is two film theory is there, penetration theory is there, but it is not related to you. But not related to means not completely, but film theory it is directly related to your application. Okay, like your bio reactor or biochemical designing part. Okay, we have also seen examples of how we can differentiate eddy diffusion and your molecular diffusion, correct? We have also seen how you will derive your Fick's law, which is based on your first principle law, how you will derive that thing also. Okay, these things we have discussed till date. Okay, and we have also seen how the mass transfer it is dominant, particularly in the uh, around the surface of your cell, or around that bubble interface, you can say whatever. Either it can be liquid liquid, or it can be gas liquid, or it can be solid liquid. Okay, any combination that can be occur where the mass transfer that can be happen. Okay, there is a lot of things, you have to read all these things. Okay, today we will talk about that transient. Okay, transient. So what is the meaning of transient? In the heat transfer we have read, in if somebody is saying there is transient kind of condition, there is one dimensionless quantity called as byte number was coming at that particular position. And byte number we have derived and we have proved that byte number tells that your heat transfer, or you can say the temperature distribution throughout the body or throughout the surface will be same. Okay, before going to mass transfer, because both are similar in term of derivation, each and everything term will be same, but here in the heat transfer where we were using temperature term, there will be the temperature difference. Here we will talk about like your concentration gradient, or you can say the chemical potential gradient. Okay, so in that heat transfer we have read, like if you have any kind of heated ball, it can be iron, copper, any kind of ball. Whenever you will dip this particular heated ball in a liquid medium or in a coolant medium, what will happen? Heat transfer will occur. Okay, here we have discussed two type of resistance. One will be your internal resistance. Internal resistance will occur due to your conduction, because this is solid body, completely solid body, complete sphere. Okay, here heat transfer, or you can say the resistance will happen due to conduction inside your body, and around the surface here will be convective resistance. Okay, this thing we have discussed in heat transfer, and we have seen that byte number it is the ratio of internal conduction resistance, CD I am writing conduction resistance, divided by external convection resistance. Okay, CV, convection resistance. This thing we have discussed. And particularly if someone is saying for the lumped system, lumped and transient both are same, lumped system, what will be the condition for the byte number? Just keep in your mind, byte number should be less than 1. Okay, this particular condition called as lumped system or the transient situation. Okay, this thing we have discussed. Same thing, we have derived the formula. Okay, but here we will directly go how we can derive the formula. Okay, now you can see in the heat transfer, this is heat transfer. I have added one page extra in your mass transfer notes, that we have seen two type of that resistance. Okay, to prove that what we did, we have first derived this formula. This is nothing but we have read in that heat transfer, like how we can derive from the fundamental equation to this particular equation by applying all the boundary conditions. If you will take one dimensional or a particular directional flow, heat transfer flow, then x will be there, x, y and z will be cancelled out. Okay, and here Unsteady state, if you'll assume, then this term will come into the picture. And Biot number, we have also seen it is the function of temperature. It is not a steady state condition. Okay. So deriving, doing the differentiation and integration, we have got this particular formula. This we have seen in heat transfer. And this particular term called as Gaussian error function. And this thing we have also discussed. And how we can correlate with the mass transfer. Now see. This is your formula. How you will get this formula now? Now, see, this particular formula we have to use. Okay, what you did, how you will get this formula? You have to apply the material balance for a particular segment, a small cube in minus out, and how much is the accumulation and how much is the heat generation. Whenever you will do this particular mass balance for this particular segment, what you will get? You will get this expression. Okay, this expression. Okay. Here what we are looking for, that it is not a function of yeah, correct. It is a function of temperature for the transient cavitation, because transient your mass transfer means you are claiming similarly that in the heat transfer we have derived that temperature difference, it is not function of not a function of x, y, z. We have seen this thing. And we have read the temperature deviation or temperature difference, it is the function of time only. Okay, only function of time. Okay, this thing we have read in heat transfer. How we will correlate with this thing? Here it will be the same thing, like if you will claim it is a function of time, concentration gradient, then this term will be there, correct? If you will talk about there is no heat generation, this term will be gone, 0. And if you will say that heat transfer, or you can say the diffusion will be one directional, in one direction, like x or a particular y or particular z, whatever, then if you will talk about x, then both term will be 0, this term will be 0, this term will be 0. What will be remaining? This particular term and this particular term, both term will be remaining. Okay, then this thing you have to write here. Now you can see this is the expression. Okay, okay, what is it? This is the complete formula, because here they have applied delta function. For x direction he has written transient and unidirectional, means x at a particular x direction your concentration gradient will be there, and this is concentration with respect to time, del c by del t. Okay, now you have to apply the boundary condition. How you will apply? If you have this slab, wait, let me make like that. If here you are claiming concentration at that particular point, it is very high, Ca, okay, and concentration gradient, it is showing profile like that, and you are interested to see what will happen here in particular region. Here at the initial concentration, here C0 will be there, okay, and here the concentration will be CAS or whatever you can write. Okay, and in between you can write here CAI. Okay, like that. Okay, now he has written the boundary condition at a T is equal to 0. What he has written? T is equal to 0. C concentration, it is the concentration at your interface. If we're talking about this interface, here will be at a particular time T equal to 0. Here will be concentration I. Okay, and now at x is equal to 0 for this particular position. Okay, here at the surface, here he is claiming that here concentration is CAS. Now you can see he has written x is equal to 0 CAS, and same thing after a particular distance, means if you will travel from here to here, the concentration gradient, the concentration at the interface will be CAI. Okay, they have mentioned like infinite. If the length is very large, you don't know where it will be. Okay, Have you got my point? Means if you have interface like that, here you are claiming this is your CAI like that, okay? CAI, and throughout this segment, CAI will be there each and everywhere. That's why he has mentioned x is equal to infinite. It distance can be much more longer. X is equal to infinite. X is concentration of A is equal to CAI. So at this particular region here, at the interface and throughout, at this region, the concentration will be CAI. But here at the surface, here will be CAS. Okay, this thing he has written. Okay, after knowing all the boundary condition, you have to do integration. You have to apply here, you have to integrate same thing which you did in heat transfer. You will get this particular expression. This. Now what he did, he has directly written that this particular term, it is coming from heat transfer. He has not derived that thing, and he has written the similar kind of formula. Now you can see, because you are getting the same formula, then expression will be same. Now he has written the same thing. Okay, he have directly written the same, that same equation, same. Okay, then you have got this particular expression. Then what you have to do, you already know that in the heat transfer, at a particular time there will be the temperature difference, but based on your position you could not find any kind of heat transfer. Means if you have one ball here, same ball, huh? Diameter, volume, everything is same. T is equal to 0, T is equal to 5 minutes. At T is equal to 0, each and everywhere, if you are claiming here 50-degree temperature, and here you are claiming it is a 45-degree temperature, then you have to say that each and everywhere throughout the body temperature will be same. Throughout the body temperature will be 50-degree temperature only, okay, here. But after some time, because you are claiming the temperature is the function of only time, okay, only time, t time, then same thing here throughout each and everywhere, here you will get the temperature 45 degrees each and everywhere. Same thing if you will do for the mass transfer, the concentration at T is equal to 0, here each and everywhere if you are claiming it is 100 ppm, 100 ppm, 100 ppm, milligram per liter, 100 ppm, okay. Then after some time here you are getting 80 degree, sorry, not degree, 80 ppm, okay, part per million ppm. Then you see the concentration throughout the body will be 100 at this particular time equal to 0, and time is equal to 5. The concentration will be 80 throughout the segment, okay, throughout the segment. This is called as transient cavity, transient mass transfer or transient heat transfer. This kind of system, generally people use lumped system, correct? Lumped word means you are claiming each and everywhere temperature and concentration will be same. So you are looking for this kind of derivation, okay? You have derived this expression, okay? They have converted into mass flux, okay, mass flow rate, your m, whenever you will divide with area, you will get this particular term, and this is after that you will get this final expression. It may be noted that this solution is applicable typically in the case of solid state diffusion, in hardening of mild steel, or same thing, okay, like your mild steel we have read in heat transfer, okay. Okay, then we will move ahead. This thing you have got the concept, because same concept is same, lumped system. Now the very important thing, how you will determine mass transfer coefficient, very important thing, okay, how you will determine, how you will calculate the mass transfer coefficient, MCH, similar to convective mass transfer coefficient which you have mentioned in your that heat transfer, like H. may also be defined as a species. Now you can see m is equal to dA, concentration gradient, divided by the distance, equal to mass transfer coefficient multiplied by area and concentration gradient. Okay, and in the heat transfer, what you have read? HA delta T. Let me write T1 minus T2. Okay, same thing. Q is equal to HA delta T. Okay, this thing and this thing both are similar. Both are similar. Okay. Now HMC, that the diffusion mass transfer coefficient of species A on the concentration difference. Now you can see the unit meter per second. Okay, if you compare from this to this, what you will get, how much value you will get, this will cancel out, this concentration term, then HMC is equal to D divided by H2 minus H1. This thing he has mentioned like that. Okay, he has mentioned A will be your area, C will be concentration gradient, and mass transfer coefficient can be expressed in terms of partial pressure. I have discussed yesterday also. Whenever somebody is saying gas, then there will P will come, pressure term will come, because you are talking about in terms of partial pressure. Okay, just keep this in your mind. But whenever somebody is saying that there is a concentration gradient, then if you are dealing with liquid, then you have to say C will term will come here, because C is the concentration. C will come for liquid, and partial pressure P will come for gases. Just keep this in your mind, just note down this point. Okay, both points. And one more thing, how you will convert? Very simple. We have also seen yesterday, PV is equal to nRT. Apply that thing. Here he has written G universal gas constant, and R is also universal gas constant. Sorry, you can easily convert. Okay, this thing we have seen in last class. Okay, what you have to do, you have to nothing, you have to just convert this thing. Okay, then you will get this particular expression. Just rearrange the value, you will get the final expression of this. Okay, and you can also, now you can see he has compared the partial pressure with respect to your the concentration gradient. Now you can see it is the only the function of RT. You have to divide to get the partial pressure. You have to divide mass transfer coefficient with R and T. This is the universal gas constant, T is the temperature. Okay, for the diffusion of water vapor through a layer of stagnant air, same thing. These are just rearrangement, means how you will rearrange your parameter and how you will tune based on your problem. These are nothing more. Okay, these are depend on your problem only. Okay, just check once. No need to read all the thing, because this thing is more than sufficient. This particular expression and how you will arrange and how you will write for partial pressure, this. Okay, in terms of partial pressure and concentration, that is more than sufficient. You would be able to easily solve the problem, no problem. Okay, now problem comes here, that how you will create the relationship between heat transfer and mass transfer. First of all, in your day-to-day life, everyone eats sweets, correct? Mithai, everyone eats sweets. Okay, rasgulla, barfi, and all. Halwai wala, what he did? When he make that rasgulle, there is one chasni. I don't know what is that English term. क्या करता है? What he did? वो पहले पानी बॉयल करता है, correct? After boiling water, he adds sugar. He adds sugar. He add more sugar. And what is the working principle? Whenever you will increase the temperature, now you can see the heat and mass coming both simultaneously. Whenever you will increase the temperature, you are increasing the solubility of sugar. And ठंडा पानी में अगर your मिठाई वाला, he can add 1 liter. If he will take 1 liter of water, hardly he can mix. I'm assuming it may be more than. He would be able to add mix only 1 kg of sugar, only 1 kg. But when he will heat that particular solution, he can add 10 time or 20 time large amount of sugar into that liquid to make uniform syrup. That is the example of mass transfer or your heat transfer, both simultaneously. Okay, there is a lot of problems like um, what is roll number that 02, I think. She's saying that evaporation, correct? Evaporation, it is industrial application. Of course, if you'll talk about any kind of yeah, evaporation, it can also occur in your that boiling water, same mechanism. What you are doing whenever you are adding any kind of dye or any kind of that the solution, okay, what you are doing, if you will heat something, the solubility will increase. Solubility is nothing but it is related to your mass transfer. It tells how much amount of any kind of phase you can add to your system, add to your particular liquid. That's it. Okay, we will look the analogies, how we can correlate heat transfer with mass transfer. That Akshita tell that there is the one thing called as gradient. Okay, we have already discussed in first class that temperature gradient, it is for the heat transfer, but other gradients like for the mass transfer, it can be concentration gradient, it can be pressure gradient, it can be electromagnetic force gradient, it can be any kind of gradient. So we are using one word, chemical potential difference. Okay, so if here it is mentioned the driving force for heat transfer is temperature difference. The driving force for mass transfer is concentration gradient. Everyone is writing, but don't use this word. You have to use chemical potential difference in a broader way. Okay. Now, if we're talking about, if we'll talk about the fundamental equations like Fourier's law of heat conduction. Now see, Fourier's law of heat conduction. You are claiming that if you have any kind of solid body, heat transfer will occur from this particular position to this particular position. Similarly, let me make one another surface. Here, this is your liquid. This is your liquid. This is one chamber. This is another chamber. Here, A concentration, it is very high, and diffusion will occur from this particular position to this particular position. Now you can see which kind of parameter it is depend on. First of all, we have discussed about the area. Same thing here. Same thing will happen like your area. Area will be depend on your mass flux, or you can say the heat transfer, whatever. Okay. Similarly, here will be the temperature gradient del T by del X. Del T by del X. What will be here? Here will be del C by del X. Now you can see both are similar. If we'll stand one for heat transfer, then it will be like twin brother for your mass transfer. Okay, both are same, similar kind of thing. If you'll write the equation, now you can see this is the equation. Yes, conduction. And what will be that the fixed law of diffusion? M, this is your mass transfer rate, or you can say the rate of mass transfer is equal to what it will be, D minus DAB multiplied by, you were writing the area, how much is the area, and del C by del X. Del C by del X. Now this formula and this formula both are same, but here little bit deviation, little bit changes, but it is analogous to each other. The word analogous for both heat transfer and mass transfer. Okay. Now, oh, this is mentioned here. Now you see, it is very light. Okay. Now you can see this and this term both are similar. Okay. You have got the concept. And now you can see here. Here they have clearly mentioned that conduction is equal to minus Ka del T by del X, and concentration gradient, or you can say if somebody will ask how much is the rate of mass transfer, then it will be minus TAB A multiplied by del C by del X. Okay. Now for the convection, we have read 10 to 15 minutes before that in the mass transfer, convective mass transfer and Newton's law of cooling, both are bhai bhai. Now you can see this is for mass transfer, correct? This is for your heat transfer. Now you can see the similarity. M for the convection is equal to H for mass transfer multiplied by SA, surface area, and concentration gradient. Now you can see here for the convection is equal to H convective heat transfer multiplied by AS, surface area, and this is the temperature gradient. Now you can see both are analogous to each other. If you will read the heat transfer, then this is completely similar to your that the mass transfer, it is very similar to your heat transfer. Now you can see both are equivalent to each other. Okay, if you know the how to solve the problem of mass transfer, sorry, heat transfer, you would be able to solve the problems of that mass transfer. Now you can see both are similar. Okay, now we will move ahead. Okay, here I have highlighted few points. Let me read like one more thing. This particular term, this thing we have already discussed, like in how the heat transfer how the diffusion it is occurring into the gases, where we have discussed in, I think, 3 to 4 lecture before, that kinetic theory of gases that indicates and it tells us about the diffusion, how the diffusivity will occur. So here the temperature and pressure, I think this is very light. Okay, now you can see this particular term, that the diffusivity or diffusion coefficient, it is depend on temperature and the pressure. Temperature power 3/2 and pressure inversely proportional to the pressure. This is for gases. Okay, this thing we have discussed. Okay, and similarly I want to read few points like diffusion coefficient in general are highest in gases and lowest in solid. Okay, this term, and diffusion coefficient increases with temperature. Okay, same thing for your like the heat transfer. Whenever you have increased the temperature, the the viscosity of the liquid get decreased. Okay, for the liquid, but here diffusivity, if you are talking about the diffusion coefficient will increase with temperature. And this particular table shows the what is the difference between gases and the liquid. Now you can see, if we'll compare solid and liquid, now you can see the diffusivity of liquid. Here each and every term, it is 10 to the power minus 9, 10 to the power minus 9, 10 to the power minus 9. But here the diffusivity in solid, it is very small, 10 to the power minus 19, 10 to the power minus 13, minus 20. It is very small. So diffusivity in liquid, it is very higher than diffusivity of solid. This table shows the difference between both two. Okay, and one more thing, kinetic theory of gases, it is very famous method to describe how the diffusivity, it is depend on your temperature and your pressure. Okay, just read this expression, and actually this expression is very large. I think we have discussed this thing. We have discussed somewhere. Give me a moment. This particular term, yeah, we have already discussed, correct. This is the whole formula, but we are interested to see how it is depend on your temperature and partial pressure. Yes, for the gases, this thing we have discussed already, kinetic theory of the gases and how it is related in liquid. Okay, now we will move. Okay, after this we have also already discussed that there is the two type of approach. One is your mass basis, another one is your molar basis. There is the two type of approach. Okay, if you know the mass of particular compound, you can directly convert into the mole and you can approach your problem. Okay, this is the generally people solve the questions of the mass transfer in the molar only. Okay, so there is the two basis only. Just keep this in your mind. One will be your mass basis, another one will be your molar basis. Okay, it will be given somewhere in the downward direction. Don't worry, you can yes. Mole basis and the mass basis. There is the two approaches only. Okay. After that, okay, these things we have already discussed, that how, and these are the basic formula. Okay, these the formula. You want to convert, you can easily convert. If someone is saying this much amount is the partial pressure, then how you will determine the concentration, you can easily determine. Okay, you have to apply PV is equal to nRT. You can easily convert your that one particular concentration to into the partial pressure or partial pressure to concentration. These the all the formula, it is based on your fundamental thing. Okay, there is nothing new. Just read once, there is nothing. And someone can ask only fundamental thing, like how the diffusion can be occur, how it will relate to your particular system, how you will approach to particular problem. Okay, like that. And these expression, I don't think they are related to only question. If someone saying that you have to he is looking for how much is the mass flux or how much is the mole flux, then you have to convert and you have to solve. Okay. Okay, these things we have discussed. Okay, from your unit 4 and 5. Okay, this thing fixed law, steady state diffusion, rectangular, cylindrical, and spherical, one dimensional we have discussed. Diffusion with reaction we have discussed, both of surface and in bulk media we have already discussed. Transient conduction and diffusion we have read how the byte number it is related. Basis Fourier's analysis. Okay, it is solving approach. Unsteady state heat transfer, unsteady conduction and diffusion, same thing. It is nothing but byte number. Okay, transient conduction, diffusion with generation equation, we have derived one expression. Okay, that equation, this is that expression, this particular expression, this is the expression. And now here we have discussed mass transfer, fluidized bed reactor, flow past solid and boundary layer. And this thing it is pending, like how the mass transfer it is related to biomedical and biological application. That this thing we will discuss. Okay, on the next week I will try to finish this particular part and pending all part, whatever it is pending. Okay, because this is nothing but direct equation, direct expression. Okay, mass transfer coefficient, this thing, and this unit is very small. Okay. Okay, tell. No. Before asking any question, I want to say something. Wait. Actually, in the ideal condition, let me. It is very important for you. Okay. If someone is saying how you will approach in designing part a particular bioreactor, so there is the three type of bioreactor. Just keep in your mind. One, just please note down. One is the batch reactor. Second one is continuous stirrer tank reactor, CSTR. Continuous stirrer tank reactor, CSTR. And third will be, it is your plug flow reactor. Okay, PFR. In if you are talking about ideal reactor, these are the three type of ideal reactor generally used by industrial people. Ideal means you are assuming your reaction condition will be well mixed into your reaction system. Ideal means everything it is ideal, means the amount you will add for as a reactant, then you are claiming complete conversion of product into product. Okay, this is called as the ideal condition. Okay, batch reactor, how it look like that. This is your batch reactor. Here will be in and here will be out, like that. Here you can apply your pressure sensor or here you can apply your temperature sensor. Okay, but here each and every time concentration will change. Now CSTR, continuous stirrer tank reactor, based on their name like that. Here will be a stirrer or any kind of that agitator or a stirrer that you can apply. This is continuous stirrer tank reactor. Okay, here will be in, here will be out. Now you can see, you can easily apply here any kind of temperature gradient or any kind of sensor you can apply. But here you, by applying this particular this agitator, here mass transfer will be very high, heat transfer will be very high. So the product yield, or you can say the production will be, you can claim that little bit higher as compared to this, because here with respect to time definitely it will change, but it have also it have own limitation and advantage. This reactor, it is also have their own advantage and limitation. Okay. Two, second, it is PFR. PFR like that. Okay, this will be your in, this will be your out like that. Okay, here the reaction will occur. Okay, generally in your biomedical or a your fermenter or bioreaction engineering, biochemical engineering, people use this kind of form, this kind of reactor. Okay, why this kind of reactor? Batch have limitation, like you have to fed at a time all the reactant, and you have to wait when it will finish, because you are not applying any kind of agitation or any kind of that propeller or impeller to enhance the mass transfer. But here what you are doing, you are continuously, whenever you will apply any kind of pump, here will apply, you can easily circulate your the reaction medium continuously, and you can claim for higher production yield. Okay, generally if you will see any kind if you'll visit your department, I think maybe they will be having fermenter. If you'll see, there will be one agitator will be there. Okay, a stirrer will be there. It will continuously rotate and will increase the mass transfer and heat transfer. And similarly, if your reaction require oxygen, then definitely they are using spargers. Okay, by applying a sparger, it will also increase your heat transfer or your mass transfer similarly. And this all the fundamental comes whenever you will design. And one more thing, like generally in your laboratories, you are not directly going to use this bigger type of reactor like continuous stirrer tank reactor. What we are doing, you are using shakers. Shaker, what is the working principle of shaker? You will, this is your flask, this is your flask. What you will do, you will take 5 ml or 20 ml that your reaction medium, 5 or 20, 10, whatever. You will add all the ingredient into your flask, and then you will put shaker. This is your shaker. Shaker, it is means it will rotate like that, slowly it will rotate. It is based on shaking kind of thing. It will rotate like that. Due to shaking, it will increase the turbulence, and it will increase the mass transfer. Okay, just keep this in mind, because this thing, it is related to your application part as well. In biomedical application or biological application, to grow any kind of medium or to grow your cell or microbe, whatever, generally people use this kind of system, agitator, not agitator, this is called as the shaker. Okay, when you will add all the ingredient into that flask, you will put into that a closed chamber. You will provide a particular temperature, like if your microbe, it is growing at 40-degree temperature, you will maintain the temperature. Here will be the temperature sensor. You have to maintain the temperature, and it will rotate for 5 days, 10 days, 50 days, how much it is your reaction time. It will be based on your reaction time. Okay, after that, what you will do, you will take out your that product, and you will do characterization like UV, HPLC, whatever. After doing, you will get some product, you will get something that this much amount you have got the product. Like if you'll do the AB fermentation, then you will get some kind of butanol or ethanol. Okay, you have determined. But the problem comes, you have taken only 20 ml of reaction, 20 ml reaction system, and you are claiming that from 20 ml you are getting butanol near about 1 ml. I'm just assuming, this is just assumption, 1 ml. If we'll compare in 20 ml, you are getting 1 ml. Then if someone saying how you will scale up, then this prediction can be wrong. Okay, because you cannot claim if you will scale up this particular reactor, this particular flask into 100 times, into 1000 times, because you have used here only 20 ml. You want to increase the production of butanol, higher concentration, then you have to definitely you have to increase the volume. Okay, when you will increase the volume, so shaker you cannot use. Okay, you cannot use the shaker. Better will be you use your reactors like CSTR, continuous stirrer tank reactor. When you will feed 20 liters, 50 liter, 100 liter, whatever, then you will have to determine all the properties. Like first will be you have to determine how much temperature it will be required, because this is totally different from this particular reaction system. This reaction system, because here volume is very small, and here you are going to increase that uh, that the size of the reactor. Okay, whenever you will increase the size of the reactor, you have to do a lot of engineering kind of thing. Like you have to determine how much you require the heat to maintain the temperature. Okay, to maintain the temperature inside the reactor, how much you require the pressure, how much you will have to require the flow of that gases, all the thing it will be you have to determine, you have to calculate with your own hands. Okay, like your manual calculation, then only you would be able to scale up this kind of uh, beaker or flask reaction to a large scale reactor. Okay, have you got my point? Yes or no? Because whenever you are dealing with flask or you are doing any kind of experiment, that is okay, but when you will design the reactor, your heat transfer, mass transfer, definitely all the thing will come. Because if you will apply a pump, you have read centrifugal pump, you have read a reciprocating pump. Okay, but you don't know which kind of pump you have to apply for this particular for circulation of your that media or reaction reactant. So it is required first read which kind of pump it is required and how much is flow rate it is required, because you cannot flow at very high speed. Like high pressure pump you can create near about 100 10 atm, 15 atm, but it is not required. It can damage your cells as well. So first you have to calculate how much kilowatt pump is required, power of the pump, right? How much kilowatt pump power it is required. You have to do the calculation. Then again you have to determine how much heat transfer will occur whenever you will apply any kind of jacket. You have to determine the heat transfer, how much you require to maintain the temperature like 40 or 50, and definitely when after maintaining your flow and temperature, you have to determine how much you need the turbulence as well. Turbulence means you are increasing the mass transfer. How much should be the speed of impeller? It cannot be 1000 rpm. It can break the all, it can damage the cell, or it can break that reactor as well. So these things you have to calculate, you have to determine how much should be which quality of pump and how much should be the power. Second, how much you want the heat transfer. Okay, third, and how much would be that speed of the impeller. Okay, these things it is required to do all the these things. Okay,